Hello, I have stressed in several videos the importance of gathering our information, our knowledge and learning of the language we are absorbing through what we hear mainly. But there is a point where we are bound to speak and we are bound to make mistakes as well. Not many mistakes, because the idea is what we've been listening to for a long time is the basis on which we produce our active language. But as I said before, and if I haven't said it, I'm going to say that right now. There are several factors at work. Sometimes we haven't absorbed properly, so it's only normal that we make a mistake. Sometimes the situation calls for a chunk of language or something that we haven't heard before, and so we just enter terra incognita, unknown land. So in this case, it's not that we haven't absorbed the pattern, but we just don't know the pattern, and in this case a hit or miss situation. The third case is we have absorbed properly, but the moment we speak, we don't have the right reflexes. I mean, it's in our mind, but as a knowledge, not as a really internalized part structure of the language. So in this case, the moment we speak, or after a little while, we realize that we've made the mistakes and we correct ourselves. The other case is a mistake that even native speakers make, because sometimes it's a tendency of the language, it's something that the language, something a little bit difficult to pronounce, or a structure not very common, or just we are stressed, we are sleepy, we are tired, and in this case even native speakers make mistakes, and in this case is okay. It's normal, and you cannot do anything about this. It's acceptable. Having said that, the good thing about speaking is that we, first of all, the more we speak, the less stressed we are when we speak, because you cannot be stressed every time. Okay. So being less stressed, it's less likely that we make mistakes that we could avoid. So being stressed makes us make more mistakes, and we're more confident with the way we speak. Not at the point that we are sloppy, but being more confident helps us. The second thing is that, for example, I'm speaking English now, and there's no feedback. I'm not speaking to a person. Let's assume that I am the learner and I say something in English that is wrong. Or there are three options. The most common option, and I'm sorry to say the worst one, is that the person in front of us couldn't care less if we make a mistakes. We are not that friends, so he doesn't feel confident with correcting us, and these are worst case scenarios, or other bad situations. The person is not a native speaker, so he can't help us. But if the person in front of us is a native speaker, assuming also that is the same kind of English, because some things are acceptable in British English, some things are not in American, and vice versa. Okay, let's assume it's the same kind of English, and I'm trying to speak British English. The person in front of me is a British English speaker. Okay, there are two options in the case the person is willing to help us. First thing is to help us immediately. The good thing is that you immediately notice the mistake, and this can help memorize and internalize the mistake. Bad thing is that if you make many mistakes, or the thing you are saying is very important, more important than the language, you get stuck, you lose confidence, and you are stressed, and you're going to make even more mistakes. And that is in the case that what that happens when you make many mistakes. So just one mistake, people correct you, okay, the conversation resumes, it's no problem. It happens the whole time. A good thing to do, sounds strange, the person takes note of your mistakes and tells you after that. That's a not very common in real life, because people don't have block notes, pads, people. It's very strange, but this is a good thing during a lesson of the person. You are familiar with the person you're speaking with, you can, this is paper, this, please help me. So there are two options, and neither is perfect. So I strongly recommend, unless you really need English for some other reason, I mean, you need to communicate with a non-native speaker, okay, you need it. But you learn English when you have, not when you speak. You can speak in front of a mirror, in front of a wall. If you're alone, you don't have feedback, just record yourself, like I'm doing right now. Record, or a video or audio part, record several times, speak, keep a vlog, video log, or an audio log, whatever. Try to speak like you really mean it, okay? So, like now I speak about things I'm interested in, and check. You realize sometimes not only that you make mistakes, so you can realize that you don't make so many mistakes, and if you make a mistake and you notice, it's good. That means that it's a kind of mistake that you know, but when you speak, you're not able to retrieve. You don't have reflexes to speak immediately. Okay, you can work on that next time. You will not make the same mistakes, because sometimes people keep on making the same mistakes, because if you get away with it, you internalize the mistake, and to you is as good as any other thing in English that is really correct, because you don't know the difference. Okay, since languages in themselves don't have anything wrong, don't have anything right, otherwise they would stay the same. It's just practice. So what is right now can be wrong in the future, or vice versa. Languages change, That doesn't happen so much with music. I mean, music change, but there are some harmony, some things that jar on your head, and there is a physical thing in music. Okay, but languages are more, I cannot come up with the right word. Uh, anyway, it's something more human, has less to do with nature. So you develop a wrong sense, a wrong feel for the language or the language. So feedback, you can listen to what you've been recording and try to spot your mistakes. What I do not recommend is speaking with no native speakers or with native speakers who do not give you right feedback. Oh, another thing I haven't said, now I am thinking, a good feedback could be also not really correcting the mistake, like this is the mistake of this, rephrasing the thing. The person in front of you can rephrase the thing, okay? And maybe you can tell me, do this sign or this sign. So it's not just you're referencing another thing, something that was right. You are referencing something that was wrong, like this. You further this, okay, what you said was grammatically correct, but most of the people would say it differently. Okay? Or you can do this. This is something that a real speaker would say most of the times in this situation. Bad, so, very good. You know, it takes, it's just simple things. And having this every time you speak, it's a lesson. Most of the times, not most of the times, many times, people do not languages are too self-conscious, or they're proud to make mistakes. They think, oh, I avoid speaking, so I just write language and I get away with it. This is what happens with shared talk. Most of people like writing because obviously writing, people think the opposite, but writing in a chat is much easier than actually speaking, but it's less effective. You don't get used to real-time listening. The problem is that in these sites, there are a few native speakers of English, and many people don't go there to learn the language. They go there to socialize. If you give them the right feedback, and I mean, this is a site where you're supposed to learn languages. You shouldn't just justify the fact that you're correcting someone, but people get vexed all the same. So one thing is face feedback as a good thing, okay? People who can stand corrected are people who are going to be successful learners. And as I said in a video before, your ego or egos shouldn't get in the way, okay? If you want to become good at anything, there are moments where you are not winning, you're not successful. All successful people have been through that. And through every failure, they learned something. This is different between failure, and not so bad failures. So learn through your mistakes. I've been posting many videos where I've played the recorder, hundreds of them, and in every video I made something wrong, but just the shooting that video made me better, and I watched them after that, and I realized what was right, and what was wrong, and I worked on what was wrong, and I feel, okay, I'm doing something right. So I wasn't so sad or dejected, whatever, because of my mistakes. We have to face our demons. We have to face our mistakes. And after all, if you've been doing all this listening, you will probably not, you won't make as many mistakes as you think you will. Okay, this was a very interesting video, I think.